happening is that we start to pathologize normal human emotion. And so if a child or an adult is experiencing some form of situational anxiety, then they go on social media, there's this misinformation about symptoms, right? And now all of a sudden they think they have a generalized anxiety disorder. So now they have anxiety about their anxiety when they're self-diagnosing. And in reality, there's so much more than just symptom presence. You have to look at the frequency, you have to look at the intensity. Is it pervasive, meaning is it at school, work, and social settings? You want to look at, can this be ruled out by a medical condition or drugs and alcohol? And finally, what is the level of impairment that the symptoms are having on everyday functioning? So there is a lot that is required in order to make a diagnosis, but unfortunately a lot of youth and adults are self-diagnosing. Then it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you start to, the symptoms start to exacerbate until they actually do become pathological. So going back to the misinformation piece, I think that's another big one that's going on right now.
You know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And
Exactly.
then you just get into this rotation of stuff. You know, I think that, Kathy, you touched on something a little bit ago as well, that the idea of kiddos getting out to play a little bit more. Elizabeth, you're in the school system, not sure for how long, I'm going to say just for 1 year or something like that, but as you've been there and you've experienced it, how much has that changed where perhaps kids would rather stay on their phone during a lunch break versus perhaps going out to recess, and do you see that disconnect there between all the students?
I can speak to that. I've been in education 19 years.
You could have just said 1 year
That's
was
okay.
fine. We're okay. Okay, so then you have seen it firsthand.
Yes, I have. And you know, it's interesting that before recess was fun, recess was a good thing, and it still is there, but there wasn't that phone there. And now with the phone there, you will see that students do choose to pick up that phone versus going outside and just getting some sunlight or getting light in general. We also tell them in times when they are struggling with, you know, it might be a bad day, that getting outside sometimes just to get that fresh air and relax the mind and the body, it helps with that instead of scrolling through the phone. So just encouraging for them to step outside. They don't have to do anything, but just get that fresh air and that light to help.
Just to disconnect. All right, so what on social media seems to impact children and adults the most mentally, would you say? And that's for anybody who would want to answer. I mean, there's a lot out there. You've got misinformation. You do have some good, but what would you say that we're seeing right now that impacts folks mentally the most?
I really think it has a lot to do with